Look up at the sky tonight. See that bright circle staring back at you? That moon up there isn't what you think anymore. Right now, as you're watching this video, there are machines drilling into moon craters, robots collecting ice, spacecraft mapping every single shadow, and countries racing against each other like never before. Something massive is happening 240,000 miles above your head. And what I'm about to show you will change how you see that white dot in the sky forever. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll understand why the moon went from a dead rock we visited 50 years ago. Let's go. Part 1. The discovery that changed everything. Here's what nobody told you about the moon. For decades, scientists thought it was bone dry, a lifeless desert. Nothing there except dust and rocks and total silence. Then in 2024, NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter found something wild. Water. Massive amounts of frozen water hiding in the shadows. But not just a little bit. We're talking about deposits spread across thousands of square kilometers. The data shows ice sitting in craters that haven't seen sunlight for literally billions of years. These places are colder than anywhere on Earth. Colder than Antarctica. Colder than your freezer by hundreds of degrees. And here's the crazy part. There's water ice deposits outside the South Pole now, going up to at least 77 degrees south latitude. Way more spread out than anyone expected. Scientists estimate there could be trillions of kilograms of ice up there, just sitting, waiting. Why does this matter? Because water in space is like striking gold in the Wild West. You can drink it. You can split it into hydrogen and oxygen to make rocket fuel. You can use the oxygen to breathe. You can even use it as radiation protection. 1 square meter of moon dirt with ice could contain 5 extra liters compared to dry areas around it. That's not just interesting. That's game-changing. But water isn't the only thing scientists found. The moon is also seismically active. Yeah, you heard that right. The moon has moonquakes. It's not dead. It's alive in its own weird way. There are magnetic anomalies showing up in places they shouldn't exist. Strange temperature readings, flashes of light appearing and disappearing on the surface that nobody can fully explain. All of this happened in just the past 2 years. The moon went from boring to absolutely fascinating faster than anyone predicted. And that's when things got really interesting. Part 2. The modern space race. Remember how the space race used to be USA versus Russia? Well, buckle up because this time it's way more crowded and way more intense. The USA has the Artemis program, named after Apollo's twin sister. NASA's planning to land astronauts on the moon by mid-2027, not just for a quick visit like the Apollo days. They want to stay, build bases, live there for weeks or even months at a time. Artemis 2 is launching in April 2026 with 4 astronauts flying around the moon. Then Artemis 3 will actually land people near the South Pole. The first humans on the moon since 1972. The first woman. The first person of color. But NASA's not alone. China's making serious moves. Their Chang'e missions already brought back rocks from the far side of the moon. Yeah, the far side. The part we never see from Earth, and they're not stopping. China's building an international lunar research station with partners. They're planning crewed landings around 2030. And here's what's wild. China's keeping everything pretty quiet. Nobody knows exactly what they're finding or what they're really planning. That secrecy makes people nervous. India joined the party too. Their Chandrayaan missions confirmed water at the poles. They proved you don't need a massive budget to reach the moon. You just need to be smart about it. India's shooting for their own crewed mission in the coming decades. Japan's getting in on it. The European Space Agency, even private companies. Speaking of private companies, this is where it gets insane. SpaceX is building starships specifically for lunar missions. Elon Musk's not shy about wanting to use the moon as a stepping stone to Mars. Blue Origin, Jeff Bezos' company, designed the Blue Moon lander. Intuitive Machines already landed a private spacecraft on the moon in February 2024. The first American touchdown in over 50 years. Now they've got another mission happening in 2025 with a hopping drone that'll search for ice in shadowed craters. There are companies planning tourist flights around the moon, hotels in lunar orbit, mining operations. This isn't science fiction anymore. This is happening right now. So why is everyone suddenly obsessed with the moon again? Simple answer, money, lots and lots of money. Part 3, the $1 trillion treasure hunt. All right, let's talk about what makes the moon so financially attractive that every major space power wants a piece of it. First up, helium-3. You've probably never heard of it. But helium-3 is a rare isotope that barely exists on Earth. On the moon, there's potentially tons of it, embedded in the lunar soil from billions of years of solar wind bombardment. Why should you care? Because helium-3 could be the fuel for fusion reactors. Clean energy, no radioactive waste, no carbon emissions. One single space shuttle cargo bay full of helium-3 could power the entire United States for a year. Think about that. Estimates put the value at around $3 billion per ton. And the moon has potentially millions of tons just sitting on the surface, waiting to be scooped up. Then there's rare earth elements. The stuff your phone, computer, electric car, and basically every piece of modern technology needs to function: platinum group metals, titanium, materials that are getting harder and harder to mine on Earth without destroying the environment. The moon has these elements too. And because there's no ecosystem to protect up there, mining becomes way less complicated. Some experts think the lunar economy will hit $100 billion in the next decade. That's not pocket change, that's world-changing money. And here's the sneaky part. The water ice isn't just about survival, it's about economics. If you can make rocket fuel on the moon, you don't have to haul it up from Earth. That drops the cost of space travel dramatically. Suddenly, going from the moon to Mars becomes way cheaper than going from Earth to Mars. The moon becomes a gas station, a warehouse, a launch pad for the entire solar system. Whoever controls the water on the moon basically controls the future of space exploration. That's why NASA's spending roughly $93 billion on Artemis through 2025. That's why China's pouring resources into their lunar program. That's why every space-capable country suddenly cares about landing near the South Pole. The stakes aren't about flags and footprints anymore. They're about who gets to mine, sell, and profit from lunar resources for the next century. Conclusion. So what is happening on the moon? Everything. Right now, there are 12 active missions, either orbiting or sitting on the lunar surface. Intuitive Machines just launched their second lander in February 2025 with a drill designed to dig up ice. NASA's Lunar Trailblazer is mapping water sources. Dozens more missions are scheduled for the next 5 years. Thousands of scientists across the world are analyzing data streaming down from lunar orbit every single day. Engineers are building rovers and habitats and power systems. Private companies are investing billions of dollars betting that the moon will be profitable. China's pushing hard to beat America back to the surface. NASA's racing to land astronauts by 2027. Japan's involved, Europe's involved, India's involved. Even smaller countries are getting in on lunar exploration through partnerships and shared missions. The moon isn't a dead rock anymore, it's the next frontier. The place where humans will learn how to live off-planet for real. Not for a few days like the Apollo astronauts, but for months, years, maybe permanently. The discoveries we're making now about water, resources, geology, all of it is preparing us for something bigger. Because the moon is just step one. Once we figure out how to survive on the moon, Mars becomes possible. Asteroid mining becomes possible. Building spacecraft in orbit becomes way easier because you're launching from the moon's low gravity instead of fighting Earth's atmosphere. The future of humanity in space runs straight through that gray ball hanging in the night sky. And here's the wildest part. Some of you watching this video right now, you might actually go to the moon. Maybe not on the first missions, but within your lifetime, lunar tourism will probably exist. Some of you might work for companies mining helium-3. Some of you might become astronauts stationed at Artemis Base Camp. This isn't your grandparents' space program. This is the generation that makes humanity a spacefaring species. So the next time you look up at the moon, remember, it's not just a light in the darkness anymore. It's a destination, a construction site, a race, a frontier. And it's all happening right now. If you made it this far, you just learned more about what's really happening on the moon than 99% of people on Earth. That's powerful. Now do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Because if this stuff interests you, there's a lot more coming. I'm covering space exploration, technology, science. All the things that are quietly changing the world while most people aren't paying attention. Drop a comment and tell me, would you go to the moon if you had the chance? And share this with someone who still thinks the moon is boring, because it's not. Not even close. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.